My dear people of Amazonia, my fellow brave warriors of our liberation movement, accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro. This day is Friday, and today is the 21st day of the month of July 2023. It has come to pass that the royal beggars from the southern Cameroons, the former UN Trust Territory of British Southern Cameroons, did their worst on Thursday, July 20, 2023. It is true that because of the loud voices of some of us and a lot of other people in our communities, some of those royal beggars who had hitherto planned to go out and desecrate our tradition decided to do vote fast at the very last minute and boycotted that whole charade on the streets of Bamenda. At least we have seen the major news headlines demonstrate beyond reasonable doubt that these funds, who yesterday were a center of attraction, were a people who attracted the awe of the entire community, were a caste that was kind of, looked at or looked upon with so much respect and reverence that they have simply lost relevance. That is why even their so-called demonstration in Bamenda yesterday was totally ignored by major local newspapers, both in Ambazonia and in La République du Cameroon. If von Shomitang and the CPDM bigots behind that action actually felt that they were going out there to, pull a serious media stint, then they lost it all. They lost it all completely. Because I know that Mingo Paul Gogomo and all those CPT and bigots in Yaoundé sat down and felt that this is another one where we can pull it. Because they have succeeded in tinifying our forms to the point where even little children in our various communities today can poke their fingers into the eyes and nostrils of the custodians of our sacred tradition. As you will see in this broadcast, the fissure between the fondoms and the people they are expected to lord over is deep. You see, it got so bad that artist, Prince Afuakom, we call him Yerima Afuakom, had to come out and call out the funds for not making a single statement when the mother of their colleague got roasted in the palace of Mejang in Boyo by the thugs from La République du Cameroon. They were not courageous enough to raise the little finger and say a word. These royal beggars stayed mute and said nothing when notables and other royal dignitaries were being slaughtered in Kejomkeko, set up by the fon himself of that Kejomkeko, himself, Benjamin of Kejomkeko, who would never have the courage to go and march. My people of Ambazonia, by all these actions, they succeeded in making themselves irrelevant. Maybe they think that is our tradition that they are dragging into the mud. But I have a message for them, because they will never ever succeed in dragging our tradition into the mud. Look at, these are the royal beggars. Because at the end of the day, even some of the funds who are members of the colonial tool called Northwest House of Chiefs were not courageous enough to respond to the call of their own president, seated in the middle there. That's him there. The disgrace from Shomitang. Of course, he spent over a year with our self-defense volunteers in the bushes, and none of the members of the House of Chiefs, none of them, not even those ones seated with him there. Because you can see this is from Bambi. If you're watching as I'm watching, it should be to your right, or maybe when you're seeing, it should be to your left. That's from Bambi of Agam, seated there. And then the front of Nkwen, that's him there, to the left. And see the kind of people that surround them. CPDM bigots. Look at the grandstand, where funds who are custodians of the tradition, who are supposed to be the ones closest to the masses, whose words is supposed to be law. When they talk, the people march, the people come out, the people act, but they were ignored. They were ignored by the critical masses of Amazonia. Anyone who was still living in doubt of the fact that Ambazonians are sick, that Southern Cameroonians as a whole are sick and tired of the presence of this colonial administration of La République du Cameroon in our land, if you're still doubting, this should be a very clear indication to each and every one of us. The city of Bamenda has about 1 million people and counting. But how many people came out? How many funds are there in the northern zone? How many funds are there in the house, in the so-called House of Chiefs? How many funds are there only in Bamenda? Where is even the fund of Mancon? That's a first-class fund. This thing is happening in Bamenda 2. Bamenda 2 is not in Nkwen. Let's see, but the fund of Nkwen seated there. Bamenda 2 is in Mancon. Where is the fund of Mancon? There. This should tell you that it gets to a point where it gets so low, so despicable, so disgraceful, so shameful, and so inhumane that even supporters of Lucifer say enough is enough. I can't come out for this kind of shit. Look at, this is the march. And I call this the faces of shame. Because this is basically the Bamenda 2 Council. CPDM. Was it a CPDM rally? Or it was actually a march by the people of Bamenda, not against the thugs from La République du Cameroon who are wreaking havoc in the city, who are raping our daughters, raping our wives, killing our brothers and sisters, looting our shops, desecrating our palaces, not marching against them. They don't have the courage to decry what a monstrous and evil military from La République du Cameroon is doing. They choose a soft target, which is the people who are being suffocated, who are being choked, by an evil regime based in Yaoundé. They choose an easy target. Like I said in my last broadcast, they couldn't have the courage to come out when their own were touched, but they have the courage to come out when citizens of La République du Cameroon were brought down by their own military, just because they want to use that to get at us. And then they turn and look at their internal enablers and cause them to come out there and say, oh, why did our boys do this? Why did our... We all know this playbook. We have watched it. We have read it. We have seen it before. It's déjà vu, déjà entendu. Nobody will be deceived. And thankfully, the international community is already very aware of the evil tactics and antics of La République du Cameroon. That is why, right up to this moment, despite some incendiary press releases from the Cameroon Defense Military and all of those things, no international organization, No international body has coerced into that kind of trash. And then when they put this, look at this. Who are they? Stop these killings. Bamenda 2 council moms. The other children who are bona fide children of Ambazonia, of southern Cameroons, who were killed in Bamenda 2 council. Were killed at the Bamenda 2 council. They never mourned them. They never came out. No. They couldn't have the courage because they were afraid of that same military that is supposed to be protecting them against their own people. They lost it all. Look at them. How many of them were there? I guess we're all aware that the peace-loving people of Bamenda, the freedom-loving people of Ambazonia, of the southern Cameroons based in Bamenda, simply shut down all their shops, ghosted the city, would not call from anybody to ghost that city, and abandoned these royal beggars and a handful of CPDM cohorts to come out there and make a fool and make fools of themselves. And that's exactly what happened. I like us to keep looking at them. Look at them, because no one should say, look, here they are. Where are the people? And you will see that even CRTV, Canal do all of their local television channels, they didn't get even the opportunity to do the cluster shots that they often do, focus on a few to show that no, the people really came out. And all of this was because they wanted to gain the news headlines all over the place to claim how Bamenda has said no. Listen, our people know what they want. Our people know. Stop this Bamenda 2 councils or whatever. Look at them. Look at their faces. Because sometimes they come there, they pretend. These people don't live downtown with the people. No. They don't even live around the council premises. That's the premises of the very council office where they are. Their office is upstation. They can't live in a municipality. They live in Mendankwe. In Bamenda 1. They can't live in Bamenda 2. They can't. Because they are not with the people. The people don't even recognize them as being their councillors. Don't even recognize them as being their mayors, because the people of the southern Cameroons boycotted the fake elections organized by La République du Cameroon in our territory. And La République du Cameroon went ahead to handpick these bigots and claim that they are sitting there and lording it over the people. You can see that they don't have any command over the people. They don't bond with the people. There is no chemistry between them and the people. That is why you find them isolated, abandoned to themselves where they are. There are thousands upon thousands of bike riders in Bamenda, and we have seen them come out when Bebe Brand the Tato was brutally murdered. We could see them out there in big numbers. Bike riders were everywhere, injured, thousands. When the dogs from La République du Cameroon went on the rampage on Bengue Road, burning and killing and looting and roasting people alive, the people came out. At that time, led by our own Abdul Karim Ali. Greetings, my brother, Mr. Iron Man. Today, this is all you could have. Caught by the phones. Stop these killings. This is all you could have. Caught by the phones. Caught by some misguided phones. Shouldn't say by the phones and give a pass, because a good lot of those who really still consider themselves phones, traditional rulers, who still recall that the traditional institution is of the people, and they are picked by the people. They are enthroned by the people to lord it over them, to stand with them, to stand for them, and to die for them. Those who still record this said, no, we have done bad things, but we can't get to this extent. We can't get right into the pit. Look at this. These are the few bike riders they could get in Bamenda. That is it. Such a shameful stuff. And like I said earlier, The intention of this all was simply to try and land newspaper headlines and try to see if they could once more tarnish the image of the suffering masses of the southern Cameroons that have said enough is enough to black on black colonialism, that enough is enough to recolonization, that enough is enough with all the torture and rampant killings and lootings from neighboring La République du Cameroon. They wanted newspaper headlines. This is all they could get from some very irrelevant newspapers. Because these are the kind of headlines they were expecting to have on all the major newspapers. Hell no. Northwest, Bamenda D, stop, haute tuerie. Those three idiots, excuse me the word, those three royal beggars, the one you refer to as Bamenda D, non haute tuerie. Bamenda is that place, that city, in that beautiful country called the Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonia, that likes life, peace, harmony, and concord. But it's also that place where the people are politically so alert, so well educated that they know what they want. It is true of Bamenda. It is true of all other towns and cities of the southern Cameroons. Don't mind the mirage you get once in a while in Boya or in Victoria and all of those things. That is who we are. These are the kind of headlines they thought they could land. But they ended with just two tiny newspapers. Of course, their mouthpiece, Cameroon Tribune, and that other irrelevant newspaper I just showed you, see. They say, Thierry de Bamenda, le cri de révolte des populations. And where are the populations? They show us CPDM demons. That's all we see there. That's all. They show us the usual faces, the very corrupt individuals who have demonstrated from day one that they are ready to see all their people killed so long as they continue to pick the crumbs from the table of the oppressor. But you see, shockingly enough to all of them, one of the papers that they actually consider an ally looked the other way, because even there they said this was, that means the level of stupidity was mind-boggling. The level of, the disgrace was just too much, that even the Guardian Post, even the Guardian Post looked the other way. This is the headline of the Guardian Post today, Friday, July 21. After the royal beggars were on the streets of Bamenda yesterday and expected a big headline with pictures on the Guardian Post, this is where the Guardian Post went. Biya missing 1 month after Paris summit. That's all. Nothing on this cover page about the royal beggars disgracing themselves on the streets of Bamenda. We call this the sign of the times. That at the end of the day, the thief has stolen so much so that even the deaf owners are beginning to hear the sound of footsteps tiptoeing around the environment. That even the blind are beginning to feel that there was some unholy presence around them. That even the dumb are beginning to develop techniques to speak out, to say this rubbish, that this nonsense, that this evil has attained its apogee and has got to stop. Interestingly enough, because I say this, even some of our brothers who stayed behind in CRTV, they couldn't say this on the national broadcaster, but at least Facebook is there to say, allow those who have the courage to face the facts as they are to say it. And that's how I dove my heart to Kishi Lawrence, who had this to say. Funds do not march in the streets. Make good use of your office. That's what he posted on the useless press release published by Shomitang of Bambala. Pardon me just calling him Shomitang, because that one doesn't deserve to be called fun anymore. We saw the things, we saw him act before. We heard the kind of things he said before he even ended up finding himself with, in the forests with our brave hearts. And we know why he got there. For the little history, for those who must have forgotten, von Shomitang found himself entangled with the self-defense volunteers who caused him to stay with them for over a year because he tried to set up his own son from his village. Our brother FM no pity. Because of 250 million or 200 million as ransom announced by La République du, or rather, yes, as price tag by La République du Cameroon. He set a trap to fish his own son and hand over to the colonial military. Von Shomitang, on the day he was going to execute, got outsmarted. And while the B were waiting at the location, they had to meet there with Braveheart no pity. Unfortunately for him, he was cut short much earlier. So by trying to chase 200 million CFA francs of blood money, and all of this engineered by Mingo Paul Gogomo, who was at the Prime Minister's office as Director of Cabinet, and who is now at the presidency as a minister without portfolio, say as a messenger. Because say minister without portfolio is even too much. As a messenger. As a boy running around. Because that portfolio means you run around the private activities of Chantal Bia, of Ngongo, of Bia when he has a chance, and all of those things. Those are the things. And in the hope that someday it will become something, and that is why he would turn the fun of his village into a nincompoop. Into a nincompoop, just to try and attain such an objective. And that is how the fun went straight into the waiting arms of the Bravehearts, who had set up their system and had seen all the arrangements and the scenario put in place by Shomitang and the bee to capture his own son. Then the hunter ended up as the hunted. That is why he was largely ignored by the other forms. That is why he was likely ignored. That's why he was simply ignored by everyone in the forest. That's why we heard no outcry, no press releases, no demonstration, nothing to call for the release of the fund. That is why he was ignored even by the people of Bambalang, who were supposed to be his subjects, because they described him as being horribly greedy and wicked. And you see, after over a year, he comes away from there. You have the feeling that he might have learned something. That his children, though disgruntled, angry with him, and frustrated that he wanted to set them up, did not go ahead to harm him, because they still respect the royal institution. But he comes out and immediately shows that he hasn't learned. Same thing with Regina Mundi. I show that they have not learned. Not even a thing. That's why Kishi Lawrence, and bro, again, I dove my heart to you. It's among the few last ones standing in that place. That's why I opened this debate and see see the rain that falls on the royal beggars. You see, these are comments following that post from journalist Kishi Lawrence. You see, one Joan Dinze says, "Thanks, Larry." Is that what he said? No, that's not actually it. I guess this is the one. Good. Lukong. Yes, it's Lukong. Is it Lukong Hans B? Okay. Good. That is for a Fumbom. I'm trying to make sure that I'm able to have that on my monitor so I can be able to. Okay. Here we go. Where is Njebel Sa, who says on point, that's reacting to the post by Kishi Lawrence. It says on point, they should instead remind the head of state that the call for Amber Boys to drop the weapons, Amber Boys to drop the weapons have failed, and a new strategy like an inclusive dialogue needs to be put in place for peace to reign. He says in a no-so, I don't know what he calls the no-so. So he says inclusive dialogue is what we desperately need to stop this stupid war. But the one interesting thing that he says here is, let the royal beggars go tell their master Paul Biya that all the calls of the Amber Boys to drop their weapons and go to DDL have failed. Those calls have failed. They failed since yesterday. It is only an illusion that will make somebody sit down and keep thinking that you do the same thing every day and you're expecting the same results. That's why I reminded Paul Biya, keep walking away from the negotiation table and expecting that something will happen. It will never happen. And that is why Afumbom follows them by saying they need to meet the person they count as fond of funds for him to lead the match. Because it's ridiculous. These same funds, these same so-called funds, crown someone called Paul Biya fond of funds. But not one of them, not one of them, can even have the courage to seek audience. Because that one is a demigod. Yeah. None of them. That is why they are coming out now. Because many citizens of La République du Cameroon have been touched. Oh yeah. Because Egyptians have been touched. So the sellouts among the children of Israel who come out and march and blame Diaz for an act committed by the Egyptians. You understand what I'm saying? I'm being biblical here. So they have to come out and show publicity. We are so loyal, so much so that we don't care about our own. Not even a queen mother being burnt alive in the palace by your thugs. We don't care about that one. But they touch one of your citizens. Oh my goodness. They touch human beings. We know we are flies. We should be killed. Not real humans. This is a shame. You call this shame of shames. That's why Afumbom says they need to meet the person they count as fond of funds for him to lead the match. But this is the apogee of it all. I'll say the apogee of it all because it's very interesting. I'd like you to see the name of the second person who is reacting there. Because the first person up there says, that's a Lukong Honest B New Infoni. Says, let the funds from Scotland stay out of this. Funds do not match, not our own. Of course, Mr. Lukong Honest, the funds from Scotland, including even Sembing Low, who has decided to join them. He did himself the honor not to get down to this level of the disgrace. But I'm more interested in the comment that follows that one, because that's from Ashunyenti. We recall what Ashunyenti said, that Paul Biya is what? Is their marksman. That these words are not popo. Oh yeah, the wise man of Africa, he comes and says, let the funds be Larry. In the past, we heard stories of spiritual powers possessed by funds. How they could not mingle anyhow with commoners. You see what they brought upon themselves? These are those same funds now being decimated, even by people who are supposed to be their allies. Because I've always said here that when you carry ant-infested firewood into your house, be certain that lizards will come visiting. I've said this over and over and over. So you see, even in the eyes of the allies of La République du Cameroun, who they are working, they no longer have any respect. They no longer have any consideration. And he continues, but you and I have been witnesses to how a fund was abducted by these commoners and held incommunicado for months. All those traditional societies did not blind his captors and set him free. Not once did I hear defenders of tradition invoke the spirits to deal with those who committed this sacrilegious act. Bro, funds are humans. They also have feelings. Let them breathe. Listen, because this is the issue. Not, as said earlier, that not a single of these royal beggars stood up to fight for Shomitang. None of them. None of these royal beggars stood up to protest when a queen mother, the mother of one of their colleagues, was roasted alive on July 4, 2023. That's just a few days ago, about 17 days ago. A queen mother, the mother of the son of Mejang, was roasted alive in her palace, at the palace, the Fawn's palace, in Boyo. Not a single Fawn will raise the finger. None, not even the Fawns of Boyo, coming together to say enough, not one of them. Even the clarion call and tears of Prince Afuakom, aka Yerima, or Prophet Afuakom, even his clarion call and tears did not cause any of those Fawns to budge. They can't even stand up for themselves, so they can't stand up for us. No point bothering about them. They can't stand up for us. And like I said in my last broadcast, it is attitudes like this one that have made the voices that are beginning to rise to question the relevance of this institution of chieftaincy, that such voices are beginning to get louder and louder and gaining some traction. But thankfully, a huge majority of this people, even those sellouts of the so-called House of Chiefs, did not show up. Leaving just Shomitang, the disgraced son of Agam, and the misguided and lost son of Nkwen find themselves there. Even the son of Manko, on whose land this whole thing and that demonstration was taking place, did not come out. He didn't. At least those ones have told themselves, let us do everything to protect at least even the last vestiges of our tradition. There's some people who looked at our tradition with admiration, who looked at our fonts and our fondos with a lot of admiration and sometimes even fear. Today, fonts on the street marching. Oh my goodness. Anyway, when I decry sometimes, they say perhaps you are just exaggerating. But these things are happening before our very eyes. We can see them. You see, even Mimi Mefo, that too often is accused of being so pro-La Republique, came out to announce the boycott of this whole charade by even members of the so-called House of Chiefs, because they heard the reactions of the people. While that is going on, La République du Cameroon continues with its taboos. Look at this. We are told here that the talks from La République du Cameroon decided to shut down a hospital in Boyo. Why did they decide to shut down this hospital in Boyo? They say they are shutting down that hospital because the nurses and the doctors at that hospital are treating self-defense volunteers when they get wounded. That's what Amber Newsline says. That Amber Newsline has been informed that Cameroon invading authorities have closed down the health center in Aduk village, Boyo County, and sent away all the nurses, saying that they are treating Amber forces when they are injured. Where on earth do you hear this? Yet when you hear them talk, they tell you they are professional military, professional army. But hospitals are covered by international conventions as being places that are sacred, that should neither be touched nor invaded, no matter the extent of the conflict. La République du Cameroon has broken all those taboos with impunity. La République du Cameroon has no regard for any international instrument. And of course, nobody doubts why. I've said it here over and over. La République du Cameroon does that because they are certain of superpower protection from France, and they are certain that the British will look the other way because they are accomplices to the trauma that we, the people of the Southern Cameroons, are facing today. Because they are certain that France will continue to make sure that the matter never comes before the UN Security Council as a standalone issue, so that a resolution will not be taken on that matter. This takes me, therefore, logically to what I've said here over and over and over. And I'm not shy in repeating myself. We are on our own. We are on our own. If we don't do things to that place where even the French can no longer ignore, can no longer continue to stand with La République du Cameroon, where even the British will no longer be able to look elsewhere, then we are going to continue to die in big numbers in slow motion. That's why I came here with this proposal for us to forget about calling for, let us create a common account for all the groups, movements, and organizations, and use the dark platform, which is a neutral structure, which has a proven track record of transparency, of accountability, and which has the technology enough to protect the vital information of all of us who will be donating to that platform. As a result of that clarion call, the support has been tremendous. The calls of encouragement and calls of people to say that is exactly what we have needed all this while. The calls continue to rain in. They're almost flooding my ears now, like the floods that are sending a strong message to the colonial administration of La République du Cameroon in our city of Victoria. The calls are too many. The support is too much. And I want to thank each and every one of you, and to draw your attention to the fact that all we need now is some little patience, while Comrade Allen and all the software engineers at DAC continue to fine-tune to work on the portal. I was talking with Comrade Allen early this morning, and he told me they're about 85% gone in configuring the portal that will be used, that will be made public and made live for us to begin to pour in that money. I said the people of Eritrea were at this point too. They changed the dynamics when they started contributing $1 million at least every week. We will get there. And you want to know that this call is so popular that a lot of our people are excited about this, that we have finally come to understand that there is no other way we can do it by making sure we count first on ourselves. Look at the number of internal enablers that have been unleashed against me and my person. The last time I played the audio of a lady here that we listened to and talked about. After that, there's been a barrage of other audios. After that, I've seen Facebook posts claiming that I decided to interview Comrade Alem on Sunday simply because I wanted to destroy some other fundraiser. That is not what I do, because I actually said here, and I will repeat it. If any fundraising initiative is ongoing and you are convinced that if you put your money there, it will get to where you want it to go, put it there. I've said this over and over. So I got even the last other audio this morning saying all sorts of things, talking of hypocrisy, charging me of all kinds of things. But my people, those are clear signs that we are on the right path. Because if we didn't have these audios, these internal relays of La République du Cameroon, someone even claiming that he spiritually, they had a spiritual encounter with our Braveheart No Pity in the world beyond, and that No Pity told him in the spirit realms that he was truly no more. Oh my goodness. You need to listen to that audio. The level of low is so much I can absolutely win the mighty throne or the mighty crown of shame that Comrade Bo Herbert, again, once more my sympathy, brother, that Comrade Bo Herbert had the habit of distributing the Nyamfuka of the week. That one doesn't deserve just to be the Nyamfuka of the week. That one deserves to be the Nyamfuka of the decade. It's so low, but all the same, it contributes in making us understand that we are on the right path. When you are on the right path, you know it, because your enemies lose sleep. Inside La République du Cameroon, there's a tremor already. They're already getting extremely worried that they thought they had killed all prospects of massive fundraisers in Amazonia. But we are rising. We have not said the last word because we, Ambazonians, we will have the last laugh in this matter. So, my people of Amazonia, I'm in a conversation with Comrade Prizo, the acting national chairman of the SCNC. And if everything goes well, then I will be with him on this set on Sunday. And we are going to be talking about the need for each and every one of us to throw our weight behind this initiative, to contribute the much needed resources to propel this liberation movement ahead through the dark platform. And after him, I have Comrade Yerima on the lineup. And after him, I have a lineup of a lot of our people who are ready to come here to talk to this initiative and the beauty of it all and the need for us to pursue this direction. I'll be back here on Sunday when it will be 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It will be 10 p.m. Amber Time, and I guess it will be 9 p.m. in Paris, or if not, perhaps 10 p.m. too in Paris. And so, my people of Amazonia, take the appointment, and let's meet again here on Sunday. That will be a live show, and once more, the lines will be open for each and everyone to contribute. I will share the telephone number, which I previously shared because the number is not going to change. So, thank you so much for being part of this broadcast. Until Sunday, stay blessed.